Gender is not a manifestation of biological sex. Sex, instead, is but one manifestation of the principle of gender. The seventh principle of Hermeticism, as detailed in the Kybalion, is the principle of gender. We are taught here that gender manifests in all things, in all planes, and that the impetus nature is masculine, while the reactive nature is feminine. While this text elaborates into the world of science, speaking of positive and negative electrical charge, it is in the world of soft science and culture which we presently find ourselves battling with the demon of gender ideology. You see, Hermeticism also teaches balance, that by the law of polarity, any sufficiently observed binary will yield a spectrum, that reconciliation is the goal and never denial of one's shadow self. Seeking spiritual truth means examination of one's heart and the accumulation of true self-knowledge. By understanding one's inner world, one will come to understand the universe in its holy nature, for as above, so below. The truth is clear in this regard that the universe is both masculine and feminine, that the universe in all its creative glory contains both, that it might reproduce endlessly in a cascade of novelty and brilliance. By way of Western man, by way of Adam and Eve, we are separated at birth from half our hearts. The expectation of conformity into an outdated definition of societal role determined merely by the external sexual expression of our bodies is barbaric and suffocating to the seeker's soul, ignoring the complex depth of character begging to be grasped by our hearts. While we drift further away from the American dream, as the outward goal of wealth and prosperity slips away, more and more Americans find themselves wrestling with the notion of true happiness, a matter not settled by cash, cars, or carnality. This happiness calls for mindfulness, for faith and companionship, for compassion and true love, and if followed to the bright light of its source, self-compassion, self-love, and self-knowledge. The deepest love is met between realized souls, and realized souls do not balk at gender non-conformity. We face the primal fears of who am I and why am I here, and if these certain principles are understood fully, our shadow selves and spectrums rise to the surface, and reconciliation becomes inevitable as the objective of universal love comes into full view. The half of you chopped away at birth was never destroyed. It was merely buried deep within. While you sought to behave in a way desired by your influencers, you may have found yourself dissatisfied with your options, throttled by patriarchal Western rationalism. You may have found your true heart to better resemble what society tells you are the humors of the opposite gender. You may have found that expressing your assigned sex at birth is exhausting, infuriating, or oppressive. Likely you have been instructed to stay in your lane and not challenge the status quo. Perhaps you have been threatened or even hurt or murdered for daring to speak against the very real fascism of a delusional gender binary, as transgender identities exist in all times and all cultures of human existence, only suffocated by the modern world. There are no binaries in the language of the heart. And just as yin contains yang, a masculine body will contain the feminine spirit. Vice versa, always, the opposite contains its own opposite and exists on the ends of the same pole. For most, this alignment is a quiet thing, reconciled in private. For most, a spiritual masculine man or feminine woman can identify, consider, and console their inner boy-girl, and recognize their opposite gendered energy as a smaller but invaluable part of themselves. This is key and often an aspect of the cisgendered spiritual experience. For others, this alignment is loud. For some of us, our inner world does not reflect our external bodies, and while the science as to why is weak and underfunded, it is an inevitable truth of humanity's entire story that the transgender person exists and may thrive as a crucial member of their culture given the space to express and love themselves. This variety is desired by evolution, the same as neurodivergence, alternate sleep patterns, filling the gaps in the quiet spaces and avoiding the homogeneity which leads to exploitable weakness among a species. The rage against American transgender identity is a self-report of the highest degree. An entire civilization in unrest about their inner selves, at their unreconciled gender, at their pain in suppressing even the slightest hints of opposite-sex energy as required by evangelical conservatism, which does not serve Christ, but rather a power structure of misogyny and oppression. The fractured strongman ideal is in its death throes, and in a last-ditch effort to maintain its power and relevance, lashes out against those who transgress, those who would abandon it and its privileges with whole hearts of certainty and desire. Those who transgress, those who cross-dress, those who seek scientific answers to bodily horrors and manifest alchemical treatments in courts of doctors and therapists resist the notion of sameness which traps souls and bodies alike in conformity. Sameness are the artists of the body and shapers of a cultural shift. The Hermetic ideal human is a perfectly reconciled soul, a body of both masculine and feminine energy. This is the secret of the alchemist. This is the path towards spiritual truth and universal understanding, witnessed again and again in culture-wide esoterica. The bald attempt to threaten you, to demand blindness, to reject your weeping inner self and look only to your leader for your role in society is the same power which seeks to suppress your spirit so that you cannot recognize the many violent errors of your society, the one which surrounds you. It demands nothing short of death in order to maintain a power which favors the wealthy, the sociopathic, and the spiritually corrupt. You are beautiful. You are a complete self. And you deserve to be seen the way that you see your own heart. Trans, non-binary, intersex, genderqueer, all of these are relevant words for the alchemical reconciliation of Hermetic gender in the modern era. Thank you to my patrons and Complete Club members, Flem de la Fleming, Chris Curious, Martina Duran, Transcending Void, and Walking on Cats. If you are in a position to help grow the channel, please consider joining these fine folks at patreon.com/AmericanDragon. Join us on Discord. There is a link in the description below. I appreciate you, I love you, and I will see you next time.